Fine.
Honey, increase the air conditioning, will you?
Okay.
Okay, keep it. Yeah, turn it on. I asked her to turn it off because of the noise, but we'll see how it is. I got earphones, so if I see that it's affecting us, I'll let you know. So today is April 1st, 2018, and we are in Chicago in the township of
Evanston, Illinois.
Evanston, Illinois, and we are with
Dick Cohen.
ریچارد Cohen.
Yes, sir.
ریچارد Cohen. Okay, ریچارد Cohen. Let me just see something.
Please.
Okay, Ríčard Cohen. We are at your home, and we are going to do an interview with you about your experience in Machal. We're also going to talk about your childhood, your World War II experience, and I'm going to ask you the first question, and the first question is, when were you born? Where were you born?
Chicago, Illinois, March 5th, 1925.
1925, which means that you're 93 years old.
Oh, you're fast.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Where in Chicago were you born?
Michael Reese Hospital. It's on the south side.
You were born on the south side.
Yeah.
Is that where you grew up?
No. Grew up on the north side.
You grew up on the north side?
The area is called Northtown.
Northtown.
It's around Western and Devon. Locals know the area.
Locals, do they? I hope so. Do you have any siblings?
A brother.
Older, younger?
2 years younger. He lives in Tucson, Arizona.
What kind of household are you brought up in? Is it religious? Is it
No.
Secular?
If there is such a thing, secular religious.
Which means you kept kosher in the house?
Oh, no. Oh. My mother would be, that's anathema for my mother. My father was raised Orthodox. My mother was raised, period. She went to Sinai Congregation in Chicago, which is very, very Reform. Dad was Orthodox. I went to Aunt Shemet for Sunday school. It's conservative, still is. Bar mitzvah there. Had a tutor. So I attended Sunday school, but no day classes.
And you went to public school?
Public school.
Yeah. And your neighborhood, is it a Jewish neighborhood?
No. Nope. We're among the few Jews in the neighborhood. That was way back when.
What kind of neighborhood was it?
Protestant and Catholic. In fact, there was a Catholic high school, grade school, that I would pass on the way to my school, which was Clinton. And I'd get called Jew boy and things like that from the Catholics.
Did it ever escalate into other things?
No. So,
tell me about your parents. Where were they from?
Oh, both were born in Chicago. Oh, yes. And my mother's mother was born in one of the Dakotas. So that was a long time ago.
Do you know where your family's origin is from?
Well, on my mother's side, they're from Czechoslovakia. On my father's side, from I guess someplace in Russia where.
But you don't know because
No.
they were yeah. So you're like second generation American.
Yeah.
Parents are first.
Yep. Yep.
You're second.
Yep.
Now, having a name Cohen in the north side of Chicago, I mean, that's people know immediately that you're a Jew.
I didn't know that.
What do you mean you didn't know that?
How would I know? Never occurred to me.
Until?
Well, when I was in 7th, 8th grade, the barber who was Catholic said he didn't want to cut Jews' hair anymore.
And what'd you do?
Hmm?
What happened?
We went someplace else.
He said that to you?
Oh, sure.
But he was cutting your hair before that, no?
While he was cutting my hair, he said it.
So when did you acquire about your last name, what it meant?
It was just part of me. I mean, I knew I was Jewish.
Yeah.
I stay home for the holidays.
Just fixing something.
So that's the extent of my Jewish identity.
Had a bar mitzvah?
Oh, yes. All of my parents' friends' children had bat mitzvahs, but most of them were Reform.
Most of them were Reform. So you're growing up in Chicago, North Side, going to Sunday school, go to public school, completely assimilated with the non-Jews.
Depends what you mean by assimilated.
Did you belong to like a youth movement, a youth group?
Boy Scouts,
Okay.
which met at the local temple near Talmud, so the whole troop was Jewish. It was just taken for granted.
Yeah.
And their Talmud is a conservative synagogue, and it's still there in Rogers Park.
So you're going to the Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
Most of the kids are Jewish. and
All.
you're- All. So you're.
Identified as a Jew,
Yeah. And what do your parents do as a profession? Are you?
My mother stayed at home,
Uh-huh.
and my father was a salesman.
What did he sell? What was he a salesman of?
Oh, the women's lingerie. He worked for a company called O'Brien Brothers, and they're probably still in existence.
Really?
Yeah. So he would call on the local department stores. And would he do it? He'd walk to where the women's lingerie was in boxes, and he'd go to each box and he'd shake it. He'd know what was in there. So he'd write the orders and have them delivered.
You grew up during the Great Depression.
Yeah, I say it that way because
You were a child. You were a kid.
no, we knew it was bad times. I was just telling Bonnie that for one of our birthdays, or it might have been Christmas or something, my dad bought us a used bike that belonged to a friend of the family who lives 6 blocks away. And we were thrilled to get it. So one bike for the two of us. So we knew he couldn't afford two. So it was fine.
But the Depression, you guys had what to eat and.
Oh yeah, he had a steady job.
throughout
Yeah.
the whole period.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Same company most of the
Now
time.
I'm gonna jump.
Please, anything.
I'm gonna jump forward to December 7th, 1941, when the Japanese attacked Pearl
Yep.
Harbor. You're 16 years old. You're in high school.
And I was standing. It was an apartment building. It was a 3-bedroom. We're on the 3rd floor. I'm standing in the back bedroom looking out the window. There was nothing behind us. It was an empty lot because building hadn't really started back then. And heard Roosevelt. So that was moving. Yeah. So that was the beginning.
When do you enlist in the Army?
Oh, you don't enlist in the Army. You get drafted and you can't wait. I was in a Jewish fraternity in high school. We formed our own fraternity because the Goyim didn't want us. So we had our own. So we called ourselves Sigma Alpha Pi, the Saps. Humor.
Were you going to college?
I was planning on it.
Yeah. So
Oh,
when
yes.
you finished high school, you're 18 years old? Maybe a little earlier? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I had planned to go to Wright Junior College. So I took typing in high school, which of course led me to an Army job as a company clerk. Because how many guys take typing? So there were, what, 20 of us in the fraternity, and only one guy didn't get drafted. He had flat feet. And to this day, I think he's, at least as of last year, he was still apologizing for having not being able to surf.
It was that
It was that important.
yeah.
Everybody was going.
Yeah. And of course, you guys know what's going on
Oh yes,
in
in Europe
in Europe
and in
with the
Japan,
Jews.
and yes. A little thing the kids don't know about today. We would, at the movies, there was always a newsreel. And it would come on with a camera going and focusing in. So what would we do as kids? Hide behind the seats. These silly things that children make up. Anyway, we were all looking forward to going.
Where do you do your basic training?
Georgia. Well, no, my complete basic, I started out in Georgia. We moved to Texas, and I was assigned to an outfit then, so we all did our basic training
And
together.
you are drafted into the Army.
Oh, yes. Notice the way I say that, because
Yes.
everybody was excited to go. Can't believe it nowadays, but that was
That
the
was the sentiment.
there's the atmosphere in the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where in the Army? What do you do after basic training? Let's put it this way. When are you drafted? What year is it that you're drafted? 43?
I think so. May, June. They don't have my papers upstairs. Yeah.
So you get drafted, you do your basic training
In
in
Texas,
Texas, and then after
as
that,
a unit, as a battalion. We stayed together through 2.5 years. And while you're at it, never ran into anti-Semitism in the Army. I don't understand why. There was a sergeant in our outfit from New York, and he got teased behind his back. They wouldn't tease him to his face. The only anti-Semitism I had was once in basic, a guy, in all sincerity, he's from the Ozarks, said, "I thought Jews had horns."
I've heard that many times.
Oh yeah.
Now, you're in the Army. What kind of unit are you in the Army? Are you in infantry? Are you? What is your job? What are you doing?
It was an anti-aircraft 40 millimeter battalion, and it's for defense against incoming planes. In fact, at one point before they opened up the war in the Pacific, they were going to send our outfit along with the troops that land to offer covering fire.
Land where?
Whatever island they were going to go to. And they decided they couldn't use us because they couldn't lower the barrel enough for firing straight ahead. Yeah, right.
So where do you end up?
We end up based around Hickam Field in Hawaii, around the air base.
And do you stay there until the end of the war?
Yep. Yeah.
So your war was pretty relaxed.
I don't know that relaxed is the word, but we weren't going to be in combat, which
Right.
makes a big difference
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
in terms of training,
Sure.
attitude.
So you guys were in Hawaii on standby for
No, we
for an aerial attack.
well,
Yeah, you guys were like
you're
ready.
you're deployed.
Yeah, you're deployed. You were
Yes.
deployed. You were deployed. You were like, you guys weren't there going surfing and hanging out on the beach, but maybe you were. But
No, oh no.
no. You when the war is over, you are in Hawaii. Is that correct?
Yes.
And when do you get discharged from the Army?
Well, they sent us back as a unit,
Sure. Of course.
and then we were discharged.
So after you're discharged from the Army, what are you doing with your life? What's going on with Dick? What does Dick want to do?
Oh, Dick does what he was going to do, go to college.
Okay, and study?
Yep,
And study what?
psychology.
Psychology. I'm sure being in the Army helped you.
Oh, no, you don't do those things. Not if you're part of a unit, you don't. No.
Yeah. So you come back after the war.
And went to Roosevelt University.
You went to Roosevelt University.
And that was their first year open,
Okay.
named after the president.
The late president.
Yep,
Who just passed away.
right.
Right. And you.
I mean, is this on?
Yeah. So you enroll into Roosevelt University.
Yeah,
And you start, what is it, 1946?
yeah.
And you start, is that correct?
I what?
You start studying.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I soon got involved in ITSFA, International Zionist Federation of America.
Okay, tell me about that. Is that on campus?
On campus, yeah. And I was in that for a couple of years.
What do you guys do there? Is it like a Hillel house, or is it like
Programs.
programs, culture,
Yes.
religion.
Not so much.
I mean, like it's Passover, so there'll be like something for Passover there.
But everybody lived at home.
Right. Okay,
So
gotcha.
we would take off for Passover,
Okay.
I think.
So
It was just
it was like
a
fraternity.
cultural organism.
Yeah.
A fraternity.
Men and women.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
mixed,
yes.
Yeah. And were you guys being updated about what was happening in Palestine?
Oh, yes. In fact, in 45, we knew what was going on in Palestine, and we had meetings. We have we'd advertise speakers, bring speakers in, and I started a campaign, an ad campaign, to enlist pilots because they were desperately short of pilots then. So the university let me have a room, a little tiny office where they did music practicing. So they let me use an office up there. And I enlisted 2 pilots. I don't know ever what happened to them, but I had 2 guys coming in and wanted to fly for the Palestinians.
How did you start enlisting pilots? I mean, what's your connection?
Through ITSFA, I volunteered to try and get recruits.
Was ITSFA talking to you guys about, so you said people came and lectured. Who came and lectured? Like, was it just Americans, or was it people from Palestine that came, or?
Probably.
But apparently it had a big impact on you.
Oh, yeah. Because I'm the guy who had me set up an office
At the university.
was a major in the Haganah.
Do you remember his name?
It's probably my record someplace
Okay.
in there. And it was his idea. And so I started advertising, put up bulletins, and I guess I must have also been in the school paper. I would have seen to that. And I had 2 guys who came through and wanted to register as pilots, and that gave me the idea, well, maybe you ought to go. So in the meantime, this major was collecting guns. And
He was a Jewish major in the American Army.
is Palmach.
Excuse me, the Palmach. He was in the Palmach. Sorry.
And he might have only been a lieutenant, a captain.
Okay.
I don't remember anymore, but he was an officer. And
Of
he
course, wearing civilian clothes.
Oh, yes.
So he started, okay.
So he asked me if I wanted to help collect guns. And of course I said yes. So he went to all the veteran organization, the Jewish veterans, and wherever he could speak, he was trying to raise money and guns. And he needed somebody to pack them up and ship them to New York. So that became my job. And he collected 3 crates. Oh, what's this? 5 foot by 3 by 3. So I cleaned them, got them, packed them up.
What kind of guns were they? Do you remember? What kind of, like, M1s?
a little too advanced.
And ones are a little bit too advanced. Okay, so these are
Yeah, there was the older guns. In fact, I had 2 Japanese rifles.
like Caribbeans.
Carbines? No, they were full rifles.
Okay.
In fact, I think I have them here, and I was looking for them to show
For what?
them. Just,
For the rifles,
yeah,
you might have them here.
I thought.
Okay.
I can't find them.
Okay.
But in the collection, that's what people would turn in. They turned in 6 revolvers. I have a sword that's upstairs. Can't ship those. In fact, when I went to New York as a volunteer for Machal, I took a train, and they didn't want revolvers shipped by sea, so I packed them up and I took them on a train to New York. Here I am carrying a pack of 6 revolvers. No ammo. But one of the problems that happened was the FBI was onto all this. And they got 2 of the 3 crates. One got through.
Wait a second. Before we get to that, I'm just trying something right here because
Please.
I'm just having a little problem here with lighting. It's going in and out,
Yes.
in and out, in and out, and it's making a problem for me. Hold on.
What if we closed all the blinds?
It's not gonna-
Oh, you know what? Is that light on in the corner?
Yes. Would you like that lamp out here?
And then there's another lamp tucked in the corner over there.
You're with this major from the Palmach here in Chicago.
And he's fundraising and collecting
He's fundraising
guns.
and he's organizing rifles.
Collecting guns
And
from.
you're packaging them up.
Yes.
You're dipping them in grease, probably.
Yeah.
And
He had, somebody had a manufacturing facility. I don't know where it was, but they gave us space to work at night. So his crew would go home, I'd go let myself in, and I'd clean the guns and repackage them
you repackage them.
in these crates.
And of course, this is secretive. You're not,
Oh,
you're not
yes.
telling anybody about this.
No. The FBI knew anyhow.
So you said you guys. Were you followed by the FBI? Were you?
I assume so.
Did they ever
No.
question you?
No.
So how long are you doing this for? How long is this going on here in Chicago?
6 months or so.
So, and after 6 months, you get 3 crates of rifles.
Yep.
Now you're not going to send them all together. You're going to send them separately. Now you're trying to get them to New York City.
Yes. 2 didn't get through.
And how would you send them to New York City? Via train?
Probably. Oh, maybe, I don't know whether they send them by truck or train. I imagine by train.
And of course, at this time, things are getting very heated up in Palestine.
So I decided to send myself.
To where?
New York
Okay, so
and join up.
So you decide. So if you're going to go to New York and join Machal, that means you got to stop studying.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, no
Now,
problem.
do your parents know that you're going to New York for this, or you just?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they didn't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
They try to talk you off.
All my friends, no, well, it wouldn't do any good. All my friends in the fraternity got together and gave me a camera. No one volunteered to come with me, but they gave me a camera.
Why'd they give you a camera?
So I could take pictures, that's all.
Okay. So the idea is to go to New York and go to the Machal office in New York.
We went to a hotel.
To a hotel. Which hotel? Okay. Please have your notes. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see. This is October 29th in Marseille.
We're not in Marseille.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not at the hotel either. Anyway, they had taken the Israeli government, or
The provisional government.
the provisional government, had a hotel that was used for us for recruiting.
Okay.
And that's where I went to stay.
Do you remember where it was in New York, or the name of the hotel, or no? Now, you go alone.
Oh, yes.
You're alone.
Yeah.
Get on a train and you go to New York City.
Yeah.
Does the Mahal people, are they expecting you?
Yes.
Yes. It's coordinated.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Well greased organization. It worked very smoothly.
You get to New York. You meet other Mahal volunteers from around the country, or it's just you?
They were there. We didn't meet until we got together to get on the ship. There were 12 of us.
Okay. So how long are you in New York? What does Mahal want to do with you? What do they want from you?
Oh, we're going to Israel.
Anything to do with your expertise in the Second World War, or?
No. Or bodies. My best friend in the group was blind in one eye.
Whatever. We'll take them.
Yes.
How long are you in New York City for?
I'm sure it's a couple of weeks.
A couple of weeks. And they are, because there's a very famous story about not a story, but there was an there was an office on 14th Street where Teddy Kollek was, and he was running the office. Did you ever go there, or?
Not that
no,
I don't think so.
Now,
No, they took us from the hotel to the boat.
to the docks.
Yes.
These are the docks in Brooklyn or Manhattan, or you don't remember? Do you remember the name? Okay.
It was a line, it was
Please.
I don't remember that. I have the menu from it upstairs.
The menu from where?
The ship we were on.
Now the ship.
It's a big passenger
It's a
liner.
okay, so wait. There's a big. You get on a ship. You're 14 guys.
Yes.
Is it a commercial?
Yes.
So you're with other tourists.
Yes. And initially, we were trying to play it smart. We pretended we didn't know each other. We'd get together in the lounge and introduce ourselves.
And the idea. And this boat is heading towards Marseille.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yep.
How is the voyage from New York to Marseille? Anything?
Uneventful.
Okay. So what happens when you get to Marseille?
I don't think we stayed overnight in Marseille. We got on trucks and went south to Le Havre
Where's that?
on the Mediterranean.
In France.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No, I'm just asking.
Oh, yeah.
And you get to Le Havre.
And we get assigned tents, and we're told that we're waiting for a ship for us to get on to take us to Palestine.
Okay. What is the date roughly?
Here I have October 29th in Marseille.
What year? What's the year?
I guess 48. Yes. Because we left Marseille, or Le Havre, 10/14/48.
October 14th.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to go back a little bit. I don't know. I want to ask you where you are on November 29th, 1947, when the United Nations proclaims Palestine, partitions Palestine. Do you remember where you are? You could be in Chicago, in school, or I don't know. I'm going back a little bit in time, but I just want to, because that's a very significant date,
Yeah.
the partition.
Yeah.
Do you remember where you were, or?
No.
No. Okay. So when you get to Le Havre, you're met there by Haganah people, basically.
Oh, yes. And it was a tent city. It was inside, There were concrete walls around it, so it used to be something that.
Like medieval?
No,
Medieval
no.
tent?
From World War II. So we had tents inside there, and the only thing you're told is you'll be told when there's a ship
So what are
available.
you guys doing in the meantime? Are they preparing
Eat.
you? Or are they,
No. Oh.
Training you?
We might have had some training in handling rifles, cleaning them and things like that, but that's all.
That's all. And the guys that you're with, you guys are kind of tight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I have a picture of them over there.
Okay, we'll look at, we'll definitely take those pictures after. And
So we're there a week, 2 weeks, and then they said, pack up. There wasn't much to pack, and they took us down to the waterfront.
okay, and then you get to the waterfront.
I was given Polish identity.
Wait a minute. I have to go back for
Sure.
a second. Do you remember where you are on May 15th, 1948, when the state of Israel is declared?
No.
Okay. Because now, when you're in France, about to go on the ship, the state of Israel is already declared. It's already a state.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the British are out
Wow.
waiting for us.
They're what?
They're waiting in the Mediterranean for
Yes,
us.
but they can't stop you anymore.
Oh, yes, they could.
Okay. So you get on the boat in Marseille. What's the name of the boat?
I can't find it.
You can't find it. Okay.
When I get it, I'll...
Have a look.
Yeah, no, it's...
It's not here?
I'll get it and let you know.
You get to the boat.
Well,
Is it okay?
we get to the wharf, and we're told no English, and I was given a Polish tag, and I only spoke Polish, so if the French wanted to ask me questions, I couldn't speak French or English. So we were with 400 Moroccans loading onto the ship. And what stands out is we were going down a flight of concrete steps down to the dock level. And got on, along with everybody else, and that was the beginning of our journey.
And these are Moroccan Jews.
Yes, 400.
What was your impression? Have you ever seen Moroccan Jews before in your life?
You know what?
What?
I don't think they were dressed that much differently than we were.
Okay. They're probably from the big cities like Casablanca. And
Yeah, I don't know where they were from.
did you guys have any interaction with them?
Just
On the boat.
casual, because
Casual.
what happened was they went into the hold. I don't know if you've seen the actual replication of the holds in Haifa, but they're boards 4 high. The whole inside of the hold was sleeping quarters. So they decided the Americans should be guards and keep the passengers from bothering the crew and coming into the captain's cabin and things like that. We didn't like the idea, but our Palmach guy told us what to do. We did it. And for defense of the ship, he had an Uzi. Because it was I think a French or an Italian crew. And of course, they're not going to be armed. And where we stayed was at the back, the stern of the ship. There was a place below deck where they stored luggage. So those were our beds on top of luggage.
How long was the journey to Israel?
I think I said 13 days.
What else happened on the journey?
Oh, well, that's what's interesting, because everything was going fine. We had 4 toilets on deck, you know, outhouses, and there's a wedding because a couple got caught having sex, and so they had to get married on board the ship. That was interesting. And then we got off the island of, we had high seas, so it was very slow going. We got off the island of Crete, and I don't know which came first. We needed food, or we almost ended up on the rocks. But it was stormy seas, and the motor quit. And the story we heard was the captain passed out. So the Israelis and the crew went down and tried to, eventually got it started, but it was close. We were almost, you could see the rocks.
Yeah.
We were that close.
This was off the island of Crete.
I think so.
Yeah.
So that was exciting. Because we had no idea what was going to happen.
Sure.
Oh, the story is the captain fainted. And the Israeli and his crew and the French crew took
What flag did the ship carry? Every ship has a flag. Do you remember what flag it wore?
No.
No, okay.
No. Might have been French.
Okay. And what else happened on the journey to Israel?
That was interesting. We ran out of food because the seas were so high and we couldn't make any progress. So I think it was Crete. They, a crew went ashore, Israelis and Frenchmen.
Went ashore on Crete?
Yeah, to buy food.
Uh-huh.
And they got some goats and other things. And there was someone on board who could be the shochet. So that was okay. And they had these big drums in which to cook the food. And that was all very good, except everybody got diarrhea. A ship that size with everyone having diarrhea was really a disaster. Everybody was...
That sounds like dysentery going, like
Huh?
That's bad.
Oh, it's terrible, terrible. We could get away from the odor a little because our quarters were behind the pilot's house, the captain's quarters, but it was terrible. And they didn't have anything to treat it with.
No doctor on board?
Oh, no. So it was an interesting couple of days. By then we were probably 3/4 of the way across the Mediterranean, or most of the way, maybe most of the way. We were off the coast of, what's the island?
Cyprus?
Cyprus. And lo and behold, there are some British destroyers in the distance. So, gotta pretend we're a cargo ship. So what do you do with the 4 toilets? You turn them on their sides. And all that shit flowed on the decks and down underneath on the passengers. It was terrible. So they ran up a different flag, cleared the decks, everybody had to be out of sight. And a British destroyer approached us. I don't know what happened, but he let us go through. I don't know why. It was obvious what we were. Whatever flag they flew.
Well, Israel was already an independent state, so it wasn't when if the
They were
British-
still taking ships to Cyprus.
Really?
Yeah.
In 1948, yeah, after the declaration.
What's that got to do with anything?
Well, because before that, the British were preventing people coming from Palestine.
Yes.
But now there's no more Palestine. It's Israel.
No. They were still stopping.
And you're sure that this is already 1948? This is after Israel became a state?
Yes,
Yes.
I think.
Okay. Okay.
Anyway, it was an exciting time. And I know when we landed
In Haifa?
yes. What impressed me is from the ship, we walked up a plank to get to the dock. That's how low we were, how small we were. Yeah, and then everybody got sprayed with DDT.
You too?
Oh, yes. Head to toe. Had to rub it in your hair.
Where are you taken after that? Training.
Down to Televinsky.
Televinsky.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's where they started gave us clothes and showers and some basic training. I learned to use the Uzi down there. And so we're ashore.
Did you guys go to the Mahal Club in Tel Aviv?
I doubt it.
There was a club for Mahal people. There was like a bar, like a very famous place where a lot of no, you didn't get there.
Might have been too soon.
Yeah. Where do they send you after you do your training? At Televinsky?
I was important part of this. Forgot.
Okay.
I was in college, part of Hechelutz Hatzair.
In college, in Chicago.
Yeah, I joined the group, which is a little bit right of Hashomer Hatzair.
Okay. Okay.
So, in fact, their shaliach, who was here in Chicago, was a painter. And I have some of his paintings downstairs. I tried to sell them, but nobody wants to buy them. It's, did I tell you his name? Sinur. I'll think of it. He's a writer now, if he's still alive. So I have half a dozen of his. In fact, there's a picture in my office that he painted of Jerusalem. So I had that background in Hechelutz Hatzair. So they sent me north to Afula, and I was registered with the army as part of the Afula command, and they sent me to Kibbutz Beit Hashita. And I was there for the war.
So you arrive in Israel probably around late October, 48? Let's try and get the date straight.
Well, $10.27. I'm still.
What year is it? 48 though?
Yes,
Okay.
in Marseille. November 4th, I left Marseille.
November 4th. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it took 10 days to get to Israel.
Okay. What day do you get to Israel? On the 14th of November?
Sounds good. I was trying, the times I've been in Israel, I've been trying to get the name of the ship that we were on, and haven't had any luck. Because I think our landing is noted on that brass plaque on the beach in Tel Aviv. I wanted to confirm it, but I didn't.
Are you with the same guys that you were on the boat
No,
with?
we
Separated.
split up and went different ways, and depending on what they did.
What did they do with you? They send you to a fula to kibbutz Beit Hashita?
I was overnight in Afula for a while,
Beit Hashita. They sent you to
but then I was
What's going on in Beit Hashita when you get there?
I was supposed to do guard duty,
Okay.
and it was only recently that I found out, and I didn't know this. The captain I was supposedly replacing was training units for combat. And I don't know where, I think they went south to the Negev.
How long did you stay in Beit Hashita for?
9, 10 months,
Wow.
yeah. So I
You
had,
spent the whole war there.
and I didn't learn Hebrew very well. I noted in my notes that everybody wanted to speak English, and did.
And were there any combat experiences for you at the kibbutz?
No. No,
So all you were doing was guard duty?
guard duty. But then they decided I should work.
Of course. Socialism.
So I worked in the fields. I got a complaint in there about I was picking beets, and it was really hard work. And I would clean the cow sheds.
Or cow shit.
Yes, yep. And I helped the guy whose job it was to take care of the cows.
So basically, your
kibbutznik.
experience is a kibbutz. You came to Machal and you became a kibbutznik.
Yes. And there were some people from my garin there,
Okay.
also there.
From Shomer Tzair?
Yes,
Shomer
yes. Hashomer Hatzayir.
Tzair.
Yeah.
So you were not the only American there.
No, there were 2 others, or 3 others.
And the war's going on. Beit Hashita is basically kind of quiet, relatively quiet. Never thought to take you into combat somewhere else or get you out of there and put you in the front line?
No.
In 1949, the war ends.
Yes.
What do you do?
With a great deal of wrestling and agony, I came back to the
I'm
States.
sure they wanted you to stay there and be a kibbutz member and put a lot of pressure on you to stay.
I don't
You
remember.
don't remember.
No.
Did you see anything else except for Beit Hashita? Did you go to Jerusalem?
Oh, yes.
Go to Tel Aviv?
Oh, yeah. Went up north to the border. I have pictures of that. Looking south from the border. And no, before I left, I toured the country. I was made it. Where did I get to? Where's the reactor?
Dimona.
No, the one north of there.
The nuclear reactor?
No, there's an army base.
There's a lot of army bases up north.
Yes, no, just north of Dimona.
Dimona's down south.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyways,
I got down there
you got down there.
and teoling around, seeing what I could.
But you felt at one moment, it's enough. Got to go back.
Looking at my notes, I gather, I didn't remember this, I had decided I was going to become a psychologist while I was still in school. And a friend of mine, Moshe Cohen, you know about him? Writer for the Jerusalem Post. We were at Roosevelt together. And when I saw him after the war, I went to his place in Jerusalem, he said I should go back to school and get my degree and then come back.
And that's what you did, but you didn't.
Yeah, I know, we never, I've been back many times
Yeah, that,
since.
I'm sure.
But, yeah, no.
I'm sure
No.
you have.
My son, where is he? Where's this picture? Made Aliyah when he was 18. And my grandson is in Tel Aviv. He's getting called up again. He's 20. How old is he, honey?
I don't know.
20.
Come on, you have to know how old your grandson is.
It's not
I'm
her.
stopping this interview. It's over. Come on, it's done.
Anyway, he's 26,
Okay.
something like that.
So he's a Sabra.
Yes, he was born in Jerusalem. Government won't give him a passport.
What's that?
He can't get a passport because, I mean, he can, but it doesn't say Jerusalem, Israel. It's just Jerusalem. Oh, you don't know about that issue?
Of course I do, but.
Oh,
Yeah. So when did you leave Israel?
oh, I've been back and
No,
forth.
but when did you leave after the war?
Oh. I guess I got back. The war was over in when?
49, I think.
What month?
I think March.
I probably got back in time for the fall semester because I went through Europe
Okay.
with the guy with one eye.
What kind of impression did this whole experience of Machal have on you as a person, then and now?
More or firmer in my beliefs. And a part of a moment in history that was
I mean, that's why we are here today with you, because
yeah,
you volunteered to be in a part of history.
my little bit.
Yeah, of course.
When I have a picture of us, and one of the guys was killed in the Negev, and his name is on the memorial.
The Machal Memorial on the way to Jerusalem.
On the way to Jerusalem, yeah.
I know that place.
So the times I've gone to Israel, I've tried to reach. He had family. He had a brother there, and I wanted to give his brother a copy of the picture.
Yeah.
Never found him.
Never found him.
Yeah. And he was in a half track in the Negev and got hit. So, and all the other guys went back home too. I think, as far as I know, do you know? Oh, later on we can compare names, see if any of them are on your list. Or can't you do that?
Of course.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And you go back to Chicago and you go back to school, is that correct?
Oh, yeah. And in fact, I went back to Roosevelt and graduated from there. Yeah. And one of the memories is, who were we fighting back then? The Quakers.
Where?
At school. Still the Quakers. So, yeah, there was a lot of anti-Semitism. In fact, I had a teacher of sociology or something like that who didn't like Jews and made it known in class. So
This is after you got back.
Yeah, so we had some words, but you know, he controlled my grades.
Okay, before we stop, I just want to ask you.
Please.
After we stop the interview, I'm gonna take pictures of the photos that you have.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
Is there anything that we missed? I want you to think for a second. Is there anything that we didn't talk about that is essential to the story of you being in Machal and stuff that you've done? Because this is the time to think about it. So take a few moments and just try and think if there's anything that we missed, that you feel that we've missed.
I don't think so. Anything I've told you? No, she was gone.
No, I found out some new stuff.
Okay, then that's a good sign for me that I've done my job well.
Okay.
So I want to thank you,
Thank you.
Dick. Thank you very much for your time. And like I said, when I get back to Israel in October, you will be getting a copy of this. We're going to fill out a release form now with the address and everything. And you guys are going to be getting a copy of this.
We get a physical copy or an
Physical copy.
Oh, okay.
Physical copy by mail.
On a disc?
On a disc.
Okay.
And I want to thank you very
No,
much.
thank you.
No, thank you. Okay, we're going to stop this for a second.